Good everyone, I am Shanat Candia, and for today we're going to discuss about traditional assessment and authentic assessment in social studies. So, at the end of a dis- at the end of our discussion, you are expected to differentiate traditional assessment from authentic assessment and discuss the advantages and disadvantages of each assessments and provide examples of traditional and authentic assessments in social studies. Okay, so now let's start. What is traditional assessment? So, traditional assessments, it refers to conventional methods of testing, usually standardized and use pen and paper with multiple choice, true or false, or matching type test items. So, in social studies, traditional assessments are assessments that focused on measuring the student's knowledge and understanding of facts, concepts, and historical events through paper and pencil tests. So when we say traditional assessment, it is assessing the student's knowledge through conventional methods of testing, which is the paper and pencil test. So there are two types of paper and pencil test, namely the selected response type and the constructed response type. First is the selected response type. From the word selected response, it means that the students are provided with choices or options, and all they have to do is to select which among that options or choices is the correct answer. Example of that is multiple choice, true or false, and matching type. While constructed response type, from the word constructed, the students are the one who are going to construct their answer. Example is essay and fill in the blank. So in essay, the teacher asks the students to explain the cause and the effects of historical events like that. Now let's proceed to authentic assessment. Authentic assessment refers to assessment wherein students are asked to perform real world tasks that demonstrate meaningful applications of what they have learned. So this assessment is designed to be relevant and meaningful to students, and it often involves tasks that mirror the kinds of activities that people engage outside school. So in short, when we say authentic assessment, it is a kind of assessment that is performance based. Example is performance task like role playing about social issues and ways to solve these issues. Then portfolio and project and many more examples. Now that we're done, let's move on to the advantage and disadvantage of traditional assessment. So, the advantage of traditional assessment is that it is easy to grade, it is objective, and it is standardized. While the disadvantage of traditional assessment is that limited scope, it gives emphasis on memorization and may not measure critical thinking skills. So, the advantage of traditional assessment, since objective test man, so you will immediately know if the student's answers are correct or wrong, and in that case dali ra siya graduhan. But to disadvantage kay limited ra iyang scope and nag-focus siya sa memorization of students, which results to not being able to measure the critical thinking skills of the students. Well, the advantage and disadvantage of authentic assessment. First, the advantage of authentic assessment, it measures real world skills, it promotes critical thinking, and it promotes creativity. While the disadvantage of authentic assessment is that it is time consuming, it is subjective, and it is difficult to standardize. So the advantage of authentic assessment is that it allows for a more accurate representation of a student's knowledge and skills, as it requires student to demonstrate their learning in a real world context rather than just memorizing the information. It also promotes deeper learning and critical thinking, as students are given the opportunity to apply their knowledge in meaningful and relevant situations. However, this kind of assessment takes time and can be biased since it is subjective, which means that the assessment or the evaluation will will matter depending on the teacher's opinion and interpretations of the student's performance. Okay, now, so let's move on to the examples of traditional assessment in social studies. So, for example, is giving multiple choice questions about historical events or figures, true or false questions about geography or political systems, short answer questions about concepts are concepts or theories, and essay questions about social issues or cultural practices. Then examples of authentic assessment in social studies are like giving asking the students to have a research project on a specific historical events or cultural practice, then let the student have debates or discussions about current social issues, and also role-playing activities to simulate political or economic decision making. Okay, now, so what do you think is the importance of using a variety of assessment methods in social studies? So, the overall idea for using both traditional and authentic assessment in social study is to provide a more comprehensive and holistic approach to assessing the students' learning. Traditional assessments, such as multiple choice or easy essay questions, can provide a standardized and objective measures of students' knowledge and understanding of the subject matter. On the other hand, authentic assessment such as performance task or project-based assessment can provide a more realistic and practical measures of students' ability to apply their knowledge and skills in a real-world settings. Okay, so I hope that you learned something from me today, and that's all for my report. Thank you for listening.